So the first card you have for your past is the King of Swords. So he's super stern, super serious. He means business. He's not taking any nonsense, not listening to any rubbish, totally logical. So this is about being the mature one, being the responsible one. It's all about logic. There's no emotion in this at all. And I think for you, I think you had to rely on your logic. You had to rely on that sort of, that sort of harsher facts and figures side of yourself. It feels like you were consciously doing this. You're consciously, I should say, not constantly, consciously. It was a conscious decision that you made to put your emotions to one side for this time, at this time in your life. And I think, I think you knew you weren't going to stay like that forever. You weren't going to have to be like that forever and ever. But that's how you felt you had to be at that time. Because I think you'd been through so much emotionally, and you just said, no, to get things done, to get things, happening for myself, I have to put my emotions to one side because it's just too much. That's what I'm getting. It's like I have to have a wall around me while I'm sorting things out. And you did sort things out after this. You're very strong, you're very capable. Now, there is someone you left behind, and I think that's why you were like this, because they're a very difficult person, very, very difficult relationship. And yeah, so after you went through all that with this horrible person, difficult person, you just put your head down and, you just started working on yourself. It feels like you had to totally cut off that emotional side of yourself totally for a while, absolutely cut it off. It's kind of like, I can't let myself feel like this. I have to get on with things. I don't want my feelings to get in the way of that. Because if I let my feelings take over, because I'm still quite emotional, still quite vulnerable, still getting over this breakup. It was a very difficult person, very horrible thing. And, I don't want that to all take over. I've got to get things done. So I think you still might be a little bit like this. I'm not saying you're cold. Just a little bit closed. Not all the time, not in everything. But I think there's definitely a lot of yourself that you keep to yourself still. You went through some pretty bad things, I think, with this person. So I can see why you'd still be like that if you still are. But it's kind of a little bit of a hangover from things that have happened to you in this past with this person. So yeah, I think there is someone else around you right now. I don't know whether you're just talking to them. It might be early days. It feels, actually, it might not be. It might be that you've been with someone for a while, but there's this closed off part of you. So maybe that's why this feels incomplete. Maybe that's why I was seeing, it's not quite a relationship. Maybe it is, but it's just that you can't open yourself, so it's not complete properly in that way. It might be that. So if this is resonating, I think you might still have some of this old energy around you from this ex. I hate saying that to you because, you've worked really hard to get out of where you were. And I want to stress this. This doesn't mean that you miss them, doesn't mean you want them. You absolutely do not want that. But if this is you, I think dropping this barrier for this new love, for this newer person, it doesn't cancel the other out. What I mean by that is, it doesn't have to mean you're dropping your strength or your resilience just because you drop that barrier. You can still be vulnerable. You can still be vulnerable in love and strong at the same time. You absolutely can. And I think you know that logically. You're intelligent, and it's just a matter of knowing it and feeling it emotionally. So it's one thing knowing something logically, but it's another thing to feel it in your emotions. So I think that's the last step you need to go through so that you can drop this this barrier and be a bit more open, a bit more vulnerable to this new person that you're around. So that's what I'm seeing now. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's what I'm seeing now. Okay, so the next card you have your past, the Ace of Swords. Yeah, look at this. You've got this, which is about clarity, cutting things out. And yeah, you cut this ex out of your life. You cut them out. They're not there anymore. And I'm going to talk about this and the devil at the same time, the horrible old devil, because you cut out the devil. you cut them out. I'm not saying this ex is totally evil or the devil, but I am picking up on a lot of pain, and I think there was a lot of manipulation as well. So, and that's where the devil is. The devil's very manipulative. So, to you, maybe they were the devil. So you cut that out. And when you're dealing with someone who's manipulative, which is, I think you were dealing with that from what I'm seeing here, you can cut them out of your life. You can block them everywhere. You can do everything, and to make sure you don't see them ever again. But cutting their words out of your head and cutting their words out of your heart, your emotions, that takes a lot longer. It's a lot more difficult to do than to just cut the person out. So if this is you, I think it's just going to take time for you to do this, but it is something you do need to work on. I think it's something you need to make an effort to do. And I think it's a hard thing to make an effort to do for you, because it means that you're thinking about them again. It means that you're opening this up again, and that's very difficult. And I can see why it is, if that's resonating with you. Yeah, I don't know if this is going to make sense to anyone, but this is just what I'm feeling. So yeah, it feels like this. It feels like if you let yourself open up to this new person, it feels like you're opening up all the old pain again, if that makes sense. And that's very, very difficult to do. I don't want to be negative. I'm not trying to be that. I'm not trying to be dramatic. But, I have to say what I'm seeing. You've got the Ace of Swords and the Devil. So, and, these two people on the Devil card, these poor people, they're chained to this Devil. And, I think you've broken a lot of these chains, but maybe there's this one last link that's there. And it looks like an emotional link, because the logic's one thing, the emotion's another thing, and that's the hardest thing to get rid of. So, again, it doesn't mean you want to be with them. It's about letting go of hurt, letting go of the ex, not just them, but letting go of what they've said, their words in your head, their words in your heart, letting go of all of that. When you do that, that's when you can open up to this new person. So I really hope that makes sense to someone. Okay, so the first card you have for your presence, Strength. So yeah, it's not like you're going around sad and injured and moping around and saying, poor me, all the time. You're not like that. You're very strong, you're grounded, you're very capable, especially in work. I'm seeing lots of work here around this reading, everywhere. So you're really capable there. You're capable in other areas of your life. You're responsible. You've got the King of Swords. So, I don't think anyone would have any idea that you still have this bit of hurt inside you. Yeah, there's this fear of being vulnerable, because if you open that up again, it kind of opens up all those old feelings. And yeah, this person who wants love with you, it looks like they've been kept very careful around you. I can see that they really value you. Yeah, they're being really careful, like the woman on this card. They don't want to lose you. They want a future with you. They want to be with you, but I don't think they're telling you that. Yeah, they absolutely want a future with you. Because look at this infinity symbol above this woman's head. She wants to be there forever. She wants to be there forever. So they want to be there forever. They want a future with you. And if this resonates, they're probably not showing you how serious they are, because I think they might be getting this closed off energy from you. So it's like, and this can be about taming yourself, taming what you want to say, being careful, holding yourself back. So this is what they're doing. So there's a bit of a kind of backwards and forwards dance going on between you and them. And by that, I don't mean, they're breaking up and you're breaking up and getting back together again. I don't mean that. It's like they're looking to you for cues, and they're getting some warm cues from you, but they're getting this invisible barrier there. So that they're doing that kind of backwards and forwards, holding back, coming forwards when it looks like you are, and then you're a little bit cool and cold again, and they go back again. So there's that kind of thing. But what I can see here is they really want you, they want to be with you, and they want a future with you. They want to be with you forever. That's what I'm seeing. That's what I am seeing here. And they care so much about you. Look at the way this woman's caring for this lion. They really do care for you. Okay, so yeah, so the next card you have for your presence, the Three of Cups. Yeah, so I think, okay, so with all this work that you were doing, I keep on seeing work here. You weren't just working on yourself. You have done a lot of work on yourself, and you've gotten far. I don't want to pick on you and say, "Oh, you still haven't let go of this ex," because that's not what I'm saying. It's just this last little bit, and it's not your fault. It's not your fault if you're holding on to these feelings. It's absolutely not your fault. I think you went through a horrible time with this person, and it's really hard to let go of that. But yeah, in your actual work, in the workplace, I think there's a lot of progression here. You've made a lot of progress. And I'm just seeing this, there's something you might have had to take over from someone else. This is all, yeah, there's a bit of coming and going at your work. I think people leaving, people's jobs being changed around. It's a bit like musical chairs with these women dancing around. And yeah, maybe that's why you had to take this over, because people left. Maybe someone left. It feels a little bit chaotic. It feels like, you're trying to get things done, but there's a bit of an atmosphere around your work. Might be a problem for your concentration. But yeah, apart from that, it looks like you're excelling, actually. Your work performance looks really good here. And, I think when you cut yourself off from this axe, work was your focus, because you're focusing on logic, focusing on facts and all of that. So I think you focused on your work. And I think you're about to enjoy some of the benefits of some of your hard work. There's definitely something coming in for you, some money coming in for you. I think that might be coming in January, middle to the end of January. Yeah, you might be expecting this, I don't know, but I think that's coming in for you. And, with this card, this kind of party card and the Page of Cups together, I'll talk about the Page of Cups here as well, because it's kind of blending in with this. Around this time of year, there are all these parties and things like that. So you'll probably be going to a few of things like that. And you might be taking this person with you, this love connection with you. You might not, I don't know. But I'm getting freedom here. And it feels like an expression of freedom. And it's also, this card's also about letting loose, losing inhibitions, all of that kind of thing. And, the Page of Cups can be a love message. So putting the two together, it might be that they come to you, they lose their inhibitions. They might be drinking. I don't know. They don't have to be. But, they kind of, whatever. I'm just going to say whatever I feel, losing my inhibitions. I'm going to come over and I'm going to tell them how I feel. So that's what I'm seeing. That may or may not happen. But I really hope they do something, do say something to you, because something needs to be done. Something needs to be done to lower that barrier. So that's what I'm seeing there. So, okay, so the first card you have for your future is the Page of Pentacles. Okay, so I know I keep on talking about this love connection, but it's everywhere in this reading. It's all over this whole reading. It is everywhere. Can't get away from it. Can't help it. Now, they absolutely love you. That's what I'm seeing in this card. They really, really do. But, they're not sure how you feel. They're not sure how you feel. They're not sure how serious you are. That's what I'm getting here again. They might talk to you, because I'm seeing that in the Page of Cups. But even if they do, let's say they do talk to you. Let's say they come up to you and say, "Oh, I love you. I want to express this to you. I want a future with you. Let's get together." Love's a two-way street. You have to be able to open up for this to work. It's okay for them to open up, but you have to do that as well to get this to work. It's a two-way street. But, look at this card again. Look at the way this page is looking at this coin. He's got this beautiful coin. It's right on the tips of his fingers, and he doesn't want to drop it. He's very careful. He doesn't want to lose it. So they love you again, and they don't want to lose you. They don't want to lose you. That's why they're being very, very careful, which is what I was seeing in the Strength card. So very, very similar thing. So this is all about this love connection again. So I don't want to say any more about that. So I'll just move on to the next card, because there's so much about that in this reading. Okay, so the next card you have for your future is the Seven of Cups. Yeah, this is a bit of a confusing card. It's a bit kind of difficult. So I think this is about your workplace again, because I was getting some kind of difficult things, you know, a bit of chaos, a bit of things moving around, people not being sure of what was going on. So, and, you know, new people arriving, people leaving, all of that. And this can be about choices. So people leaving and, you know, whether to employ a new person, whether to leave them. So it feels like a lot of people in your workplace might be feeling a bit uneasy, maybe, about where they are, you know, in their jobs, changes to the workplace, all of that kind of thing. And, you know, if there's a fast turnaround of people, you know, you can get an atmosphere of unsurety, stress, and all of that. So that might be what's going on, and that's kind of, because this card's about confusion as well. So if that resonates, I'm not seeing any problems with your position, with your job. It does feel very safe to me. But I think after a while, you know, you might start to feel a bit unhappy or uneasy yourself. If you're not already, you might already be feeling like that. You know, it looks like you're doing quite well, because I was seeing that money reward, or this bonus or whatever this is. But this is about, it's not about money rewards, it's about how you feel and how other people feel and the atmosphere of the place and all of that. So you might eventually move on, or, you know, you might be thinking about that now, I don't know. It does feel like you're in a good position. So if you did decide to leave, I think you'd have a lot of really good options in front of you. Again, this is about choices. So I think whatever you choose to do, whether you stay, whether you leave, whatever happens, I think you'll be fine. I think you'll have a lot of good things in front of you. So I wouldn't stress too much about this. I know this looks very confusing and difficult, and this poor man's left in the dark, and you might feel like that. I think a lot of people in this workplace feel like that, that they're in the dark. But just, if you're feeling like that, just know that you do have good options in front of you, and your job's safe as well. That's what I'm seeing. If you decide to stay there, you might want to stay there in January if what I'm seeing here in the Three of Cups is correct, because you do have some kind of money reward coming in. So I don't know. Okay, so the last card you have for your future is the Two of Wands. So again, this is really a similar thing to what I was seeing in the Seven of Cups. You know, because this man's standing here, he's looking out into the world and he's thinking, what options do I have? What's my future like? Let's just have a think of this. Just look out there into the big wide world. So, you know, if you're worrying about this again, if you're worrying about this job, you're worrying about your future at your work, you know, again, this job feels secure to me. Because if you look at this man, I'll just lift it up so you can see. So in this card, you know, he's got a wand behind him, and it's a secure wand. It's not going anywhere. It's not moving. It's bolted to the wall. So that's always there. That's representing your job that you've got now. It's always going to be there. But you also have a world of possibilities in front of you. You know, he's got the world in his hands and the big wide world's out in front of him. So both of these cards, again, they're both showing me that you don't have anything to worry about around work or about your future prospects or anything like that. You're always going to have options around you. You're always going to have good options around you. And I feel as if I have to tell you that because there is a lot of chaos, there's a lot of uneasiness around your work, if this all resonates with you. So whatever happens, you're always going to land on your feet. You're always going to have options.